Hello everyone, my name is Navneet and I am one of the product marketers here at Zoho Books. Today I'll be giving a demo and the product walkthrough for our VAT compliant edition for Zoho Books Saudi Arabia. As you guys probably already know, Zoho Books is an online cloud-based accounting software. What this means is that as long as you have an internet connection, you can access it from probably anywhere in the world. And this is the URL that you see on top here, zoho.com/books. All you have to do is take that URL and enter it into your browser, and this is the homepage that you arrive at when you start accessing our software. And as you can see on the screen, accounting software for growing businesses. It is completely VAT compliant, and it lets you send out all the major parts of your business, like sending out invoices, so reconciling your bank transactions, managing expenses and inventory. Everything is taken care of within Zoho Books. So to enable our customers to get a taste of the actual features that we have given out a 14-day free trial version. So I'm gonna start off this demo there. So for accessing the 14-day free trial version, you click on this green button here, and let's get started by filling this out. Just gonna enter the details asked for here. Just gonna create a random contact and set my business location as Saudi Arabia, and I create my account. Yep, it is time to make your accounting really simple. So signing up for your trial version or the full version later on is really that simple. Yeah, so now you're at the Let's Get Started page. Here you can set the industry of the type of business that you're operating. Uh, you'll have something called a client portal where in the future you'll be giving access to your customers, where they'll have an online portal from which they get access to all their information, like invoices, total payments that they have to make, etc. So this is the portal name that you'll be setting. Just give the industry as automotive here. Your company address, you can fill it out here. Next up, you will be taken to the features page. Yeah, so here you can enable the important modules that's required for your particular business. So not every business would require all the set modules that we have by default. So depending upon your needs or preferences, you can select whatever features that you require here. And finally, we arrive at online payments. If you're collecting online payments from your customers, you can enable this option and integrate with the various payment gateways that we provide. So that's how we get started. So now let's quickly jump into the product and see the various features for ourselves once. So yeah, this is the product dashboard of Zoho Books, where you get a bird's eye view of all the important information. As I scroll down here, you can see the total receivables that's coming your way, the total payables that you have to make, and as you go further down, you can see a cash flow graph where you can see again all the important information for the last 12 months, or in whichever way you want to arrange this and view, you can do that here. And as I come further down, you can see your income and expense breakdown, or if you want to see your top expenses, you can see that here on the right as well. So before you run to the next meeting with your boss or your investors, and you want to quickly see the important numbers that is generated by your business, you can do that quickly with the dashboard section of our software. With that, I'll take you to the settings page. On top right here, you can see the bunch of settings options that we have. Let's go through it one by one. Organization profile, if you have a logo for your organization, you can upload that here. This is the organization name that I've given by default. So the client portal is something that I had explained a couple of minutes back about providing access for your customers to an online portal. So if you want to change the portal settings, you can do that here. So you are in the Saudi Arabia edition of Zoho Books. Your business location is set as Saudi, and yeah, the rest of your company address as well. With that, we jump into opening balances. So when you make the transition from one accounting software to the other, or if it's the end of a fiscal year or a financial year and you're going on to the next, you would have some amount in your account as your closing balance. So that becomes the opening balance in your new accounting software or for the new financial year. So you can enter that easily here in Zoho Books. You can center the opening balance date here, and you can come here and enter the specific opening balance in your accounts receivable or accounts payable section. You can see you can set the currency here and set the value of your opening balance, and you're good to go. So here, if you want any particular information at any step, you can always shoot a mail at support@zohobooks.com. You can see the question mark for help and support here. If you want to chat with us, we have our product experts always available at your service, so you can do that as well. So yeah, other information for your opening balance, like what exactly is it and how exactly to enter, all the information is provided in our help docs that's being linked here. So now let me quickly take you to the taxes section. So the VAT is the elephant in the room, and that's what we'll see next. Here, as soon as you've registered for VAT and you receive your tax registration number, you can come here and enter that value. So this becomes very important because in all the future uh, invoices and all the communications that you send out to your customer, and the future filing of VAT returns, etc., your TRN would be taken from this particular section of the software. So the number that you enter here is very important. It's your TRN, and if you are doing cross-border transactions, you can enable that here, and you can set the reporting period as well. Here in this section, you have your tax rates. Here you can see the three different tax rates that's been set by default. Standard rate of 5% for your country, that's Saudi Arabia. And if other than this, if you want to create something new like an excise tax, you can always do that with the click of a button here with the new tax option. With that, I'll quickly take you back to the main dashboard section again. So what I'll do is you see this bunch of options here on the left, starting with contacts, going through items, bankings, the two main behemoths, that is sales and purchases, which form the backbone of your business operations. Then you have your timesheet, your journals, which comes under your accounting section, and finally reports. So we're going to go through this section one by one, and after that we'll see how the rest of the settings complements the operations of these particular modules within Zoho Books. Yeah, so let's get started. So contacts, the name itself is pretty self-explanatory. Here you can create the list of customers or vendors that you do business with. As soon as I click on contacts, here's a list of contacts that I've already created. Creating a new contact is pretty easy. You can see this plus red button here. I click on that. I can specify if it's a customer or a vendor and enter other important information here. Yeah. As I scroll down here, so this is something that really makes it VAT compliant. So here I can set the specific VAT treatment that's associated with this particular contact. Let's say I'm creating a contact called Amis. and Ramesh is registered for VAT. Yeah. So as soon as I give it as VAT registered, here you can see that the place of supply has been automatically populated as Saudi Arabia. The system is understanding that he's located in Saudi, and the business transaction and the place of supply is within Saudi. Now, if he's outside Saudi and from some other part of GCC, what I have to do is just click on GCC VAT registered, and now this time the software will prompt me. So books will prompt me with a bunch of options from the rest of GCC, like what you see on the screen here. So it's pretty neat, and it's something that's really important because at the time of filing VAT returns, the specific place of supply and the tax registration number of not just you but your customer as well becomes very important. So, and if he has not registered for VAT, you can give this option here, non-VAT registered, GCC non-VAT registered, or if he's completely out of scope of GCC, then you just give it as non-GCC. So for this particular example, I'm gonna give it as VAT registered. Just going to enter a random number. If there's an address that I want to associate it with Ramesh, I can do that. If there's any contact person that I want to associate, I can do that as well. Yeah, just quickly save this contact. So that's how you create a new contact in Zoho Books. Let's quickly go to items here. So item is basically the goods or the service that you're selling to your customer or buying from your vendor. You can see the list of active items that I've already created within Zoho Books. Again, the UI that we have designed is so simple and it's so neat, so it's very easy. At every step, creating a new item or a contact or an invoice, it follows that same procedure as you can see here. Click on this new button here, specify it's a good or a service. You enter the name here of that particular item. You specify the unit. Here you specify if it's a, if you're selling this particular item or if you're making a purchase of it. I am just making the sale and I'm gonna set it at a rate of 120 Saudi Riyals, and I'm associating that with my sales account, and I'm associating a standard rate of 5% with this particular item. So yeah, the item laptop mouse has been saved, and I had given a tax rate of 5% for this particular item. Coming down further, you have something called the price list. There are these situations in which it is the holiday season and you would like to give your customers a set discount of let's say 5% or 100 Saudi Riyals. So this is a price list that I've already created. It's for New Year and I had set a markdown percentage of 5%. So what I can do is I can apply this price list to my transactions, and automatically the price for those transactions would come down by a percentage of 5%. So with that, we'll go into the banking section of Zoho Books. Now, banking is a very powerful module that we have within Zoho Books. Uh, Here, you can add your bank or credit card details here. We have about 5,000 banks worldwide with which we have connected. Uh, you can enter the details here and to find out the particular bank, or if you want to enter your account manually, you can do that by clicking on this red button. So what happens is once the bank account is linked with Zoho Books, all your bank transactions is automatically reconciled, and the bank feeds that you have is automatically fetched within Zoho Books. So Whenever you make a transaction from your bank account, that is already automatically fetched into Sobooks, and you have the option of associating this particular transaction with a particular bill that you've already generated and sent out in Sobooks. So it saves a lot of headache on your part as a business owner, and makes less room for error later on. So with that, I jump into the two main sections, which is the sales and the purchase modules within Sobooks. As I go on sales, you have this bunch of options here, starting with estimates all the way up to credit notes. Estimates is basically the quotes that you sent out to your customers. Here you can see a list of estimates that I've already created. Creating a new estimate is really simple. Here you can see the new create estimate button. If I want to import a set of invoices, sorry, estimates that I've already created, I can do that here. I can import estimates while I'm migrating from another software. Or if I want to export estimates that I've already created, I can do that as well by clicking on this button here. So yeah, like I said, here's a list of estimates I've created with the estimate number, the name, and the status. But just by clicking on this new button here, you can create a new estimate. Next up, next up we'll go to something called retainer invoices. When you receive an advance payment from your customer, you create something called the retainer invoice. Again, the same set of buttons here for creating a new retainer invoice or for importing or exporting. Here you can see the same bunch of options here. Creating something new, again the same philosophy. You just have to select the particular customer for which you're creating this invoice for. Uh, there are two ways of generating this invoice number. Either you can enter it manually, or the software will generate it automatically for you. You can set that by clicking on this gear icon here. Coming down further, here you can enter the description for this return invoice. Let's say if you have received it for a particular project name, you can enter the project details here. Here you can see the template that's been already set for this particular return invoice. If you want to change that, you can always do that by clicking here. So I'll quickly take you through the other sections of the sales module. This is the sales orders. Again, it's pretty easy. The same philosophy again, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Whenever you want to create a new sales order, you can come here and do that at the click of a button. Next up is delivery challenge. You can see that here, and with that, we go into the invoices section. Here you can see a list of invoices that I've already created with Sobooks, with the date, the invoice number, the customer name, the status of this particular invoice, the due date, the amount of that particular invoice, and the balance due. You can see all the important information. So you can create a new invoice by clicking on this button here. Again, if you want to sort the invoices present here by date or invoice number, order number, etc., you can do that here. Import, export, refresh, and the other options here. So let's see how to create a new invoice. I'll just quickly go here and enter a customer, Globex Corporation, which is based in Saudi Arabia. So this is the billing and shipping address that I had already entered when I was creating this particular contact, and I had set this particular contact as VAT registered. The place of supply is automatically populated as Saudi Arabia because I had given that when I created this particular contact. The invoice number is automatically generated for me. The invoice date is set by default as today's date. If I want to change that, I can do that here. if I want to associate this particular invoice with the salesperson, I can do that easily here. So I'll just quickly select an item. So when this particular item was created, I had given it as tax exempt. Now I have decided to apply a VAT rate of 5% for this particular item. I can add a description for this. And I have gonna sell 10 different pieces of laptop covers here. Coming further down, you can see the tax breakdown here. The total amount that's been calculated, and the tax component, the VAT component of that, and the final amount that's chargeable for the customer. Other than that, if you want to attach any additional files, you can do that easily by clicking on this button here. So by default, we have the standard Arabic template. If you want to change that, you can always do that by clicking here, and you can play around with the different features. So we're gonna go into the settings templates page in a while, and show you the different templates and how to play around with the different template settings also in a while. For now, let's just save it as draft. So yeah, that's how you create VAT compliant invoice. Here you can see a bunch of options on the top. If I want to edit that, I can do that there. If I want to download it as PDF or print it out, I can do that. Attaching a file is here. So I'll record payment from this particular customer. Yeah. If I want to make it as recurring or print a delivery note, I can do that as well. So that's how you create a VAT compliant invoice. It's pretty easy. Next up, we can go into the payments received. So accepting payments, there are two ways of doing it. Either you can go into the particular invoice and record a payment there, or you can go to the payments received section and create a new record payment um, option here, and record that particular payment that you received from your customer. So here you can see the list of payments that's been already received, that I've already recorded within Zoho Books. So you can do that quite easily. Next up, we have something called recurring invoices. So there are these situations in which you want to generate weekly or monthly invoices for a particular customer. Classic examples are subscription-based businesses like your newspaper, or or a magazine where you are charged on a monthly recurring basis. In those situations, you can set Zoho Books to generate recurring invoices with a frequency that's being set by you, so that you don't have to worry about it at a later point. If you want to go for an advanced subscription management software, you can see on the screen here we have something else called Zoho subscriptions. You can always talk to us, and there is seamless integration between Zoho Books and Zoho subscriptions. So you can think about that as well. But for now, if it's simple recurring invoice need, that's being very easily handled within Zoho Books. Creating a recurring invoice, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is again select the particular customer, your profile name. Here you set the billing frequency. If I want to send this out every month, I can do that here. The rest, it looks pretty similar. Select this particular item here. I'll click on save. So now what this does is every month this particular invoice would be sent out to this particular customer until you decide not to do it anymore with this button here. So that's how you do that's how you create a recurring invoice. Next up, you have something called credit notes. There are these situations in which you have to issue a refund to your customer. There is a situation in which you have uh, sent out damaged goods to your customer, and they ask for a refund, and you have to offset that. So in those situations, you create something called a credit note and send it out to your customer. So you can see the list of credit notes that I've already created. Soho Books has this really cool feature which makes your accounting really easy. So the credit note that you created, you can easily apply that to an invoice for that particular customer. You can see that option here, and you can also set the amount to credit. So what this means is that you don't have to manually subtract that particular value from your next transaction. The software takes care of that part for you. So like I said, accounting, it's been made really easy for you at every step along the way. So yeah, with that we jump into the purchases section. That's the bunch of options that we have in purchases. We're gonna start off with expenses. If you want to record an expense, before that, uh, list of expenses I've already created. I have created something called office supplies here, or yeah, the date is set as today's by default. I can select the specific account uh, to which this expense has to be linked. I can easily do that here. Just set it as printing and stationery. The specific amount in Saudi Riyal, how exactly I paid this expense from which account, I can easily set that here. The tax treatment that's associated with this particular expense, I'm just gonna set it as out of scope for now. You just have to click on save. That's how you create an expense. If you want to make it recurring, like just like recurring invoices, there are situations in which you have recurring expenses as well, just like your office rent that you pay out every month. So if you want to do that, you can do that here by clicking this, or you can come here and set a recurring expense. Again, the same deal here. You set your profile name, you set the expense frequency or the billing frequency here. You set your start and end date. You set the account to which it is linked, the amount, the paid through amount, and the tax treatment, and you're good to go. It's as easy as that. So next up, we have purchase orders. Clicking here will take you to the new purchase order screen. Here you can select the vendor for which I'm creating this particular purchase order. Coming down here, I have the item table, and I can set the specific item for which I'm creating the specific purchase order. So I'll just quickly take you back to the list of purchase orders that I've already created. So this is one. I'm gonna show how things are so easily done in the background within Zoho Books. I'm just gonna this is already in draft state, and I'm gonna convert it to open. So once I've talked to my vendor and decided to agree on this particular order, all I have to do is come to this particular purchase order and convert it to a bill. Just gonna enter my random bill number here. So yeah, it's now converted as a the same procedure you can do for your sales order as well. Whatever sales order that you've created, you have the option of converting that to an invoice at the click of a button. You can save it as a draft, or you can save it and send it directly to your customer. Here it comes as the email template that will be sent out to your particular customer with that particular invoice. Again, going back to the bill section, this is where you'll be dealing with the vendors of your business. Creating a new bill, again, an easy task for you. Here you can see the list of bills that I've already created with all the important data that's being displayed on the screen: the date, the bill number, the vendor name, then the particular status of this particular bill. Again, the same options, the same routine again. Let's create a new bill here. This guy is VAT registered, and I had set his place of supply as Saudi Arabia. Let's set 19th Jan as the date. So yeah, creating a bill is that easy. Now, if I want to record payment for this particular bill, I can easily do that here by clicking on this record payment button. So yeah, if you want to do bulk actions for your bills or invoices, you can always do that here. This is something that you would have noticed already. Whatever operations that I've been doing after I go to a particular module, like coming here and creating a new bill, or showing you the import export option, or going to the expenses section and showing the new expense button and the other options, you can see that the same uh, UI has been maintained throughout. So it's pretty easy for you as the customer to pick up Zoho books, or to pass on this knowledge to your accountant or the accounting guy at your office. So it's pretty easy and self-explanatory. And same way, if you want to do bulk actions with your bills or whatever transactions that you create, you can always do that by clicking this little checkbox here. And if you want to delete or print or download them as PDF, you can always do that there. So yeah, with that we go to the payments made. Again, just same routine as your sales module. Whatever payments that's been made can be recorded here by clicking on the vendor name and entering the other details. You can set the amount here, because that's the amount that I owe to this particular vendor. The software is smart enough to tell me that, and I've decided to pay him the full amount. That's the full amount that I owe to this particular vendor. I'm just gonna quickly save it as, yeah, paid. Next up, we have recurring bills. Just like you have your recurring invoices, you have your situations in which you have to generate recurring bills as well. Same routine again. You can see the recurring bills are created. Create recurring bill using this plus button here. Next up is the vendor credits. So there are these situations in which you only owe money to your I'm sorry. There are these situations in which your vendor owes money to your business. In those situations, a vendor credit has to be raised, and you can do that easily by coming here in the purchase module, and the same routine again. You can see the bunch of options that's been displayed with all the important information. You can create your vendor credit by selecting the vendor name, uh, Your credit note can be entered here. If you want to attach any additional files, you can do that as well. So with that, we cover the sales and purchase module of Zoho Books, which forms the basically the backbone of all your accounting operations. So once you set up Zoho Books, these two sections is practically enough to take care of 80 to 90% of all your major operations. And we have just walked through this, and you have seen how easy it is to set a recurring invoice or to create a bill for example. So it's really easy, it's very intuitive, and with that we go into the rest of the sections. We have something called timesheet here. So if you have a type of business where you charge your customers by the hour or by the number of hours that they work, this timesheet feature is very useful to you. Here's something that I've already created. Let's go and create a new project. This sample project here. I'll select my customer and specify the billing method. I'm gonna charge this particular customer based on the task hours. Just gonna set the task name. I can give the description uh, that I want to give there, and I can set the rate that I'm charging per hour. I'm gonna charge 100 Saudi Riyal per hour, and you have the additional option of adding this to the watch list on your dashboard so that you can see this on your dashboard in one go. So yeah, that's how you create a project within your timesheet. And here you can come and see the billable hours and other important information. So accountant is another very important feature within Books. We'll start off with chart of accounts here. Here you can see four options. I'll quickly go to the most important feature here, which is chart of accounts. Here you can see the default chart of accounts that's already there within Books. You can see your employee advance, your advanced tax. If I want to attach a file to a particular chart of account, I can do that. Apart from this, if I want to create a new account, I can always do that by clicking on this button here. Just have to specify the account type, set the account name, and I'm good to go. It's really convenient and easy. If I want to import chart of accounts when I'm migrating from a different software, or if I want to export my chart of accounts that I've created, I can do that quite easily. We have something called manual journals. If I want to make some adjustment between different chart of accounts that I have, I can come to my manual journals and do that. Just have to click on new journal here and specify, give a small description here about what is the journal adjustment that I'm doing, and specify the set the accounts from which I'm making my adjustment. I can give the description, contact, and the specific debit and the credit amount for these particular accounts respectively. So apart from this, if I have any bills or any other documents that stands proof to this particular adjustment, I can always attach that here, which comes in handy at the time of filing your taxes. So with that, we go into currency adjustments. If you're in the business of doing cross-border transactions, currency adjustment is something that becomes really useful for you. You can make an adjustment here. So let's say that you are selling from Saudi Arabia to Australia, and we know that foreign exchange keeps varying on a daily basis, and you want to maintain one uniform rate across all your documents that you create and send to your Australian customers. So all you have to do is come here and set a standard exchange rate of Australian dollar equal to a specified real value, and this value will be automatically adjusted across all your invoices or all your transactions, and you're good to go. With that, we go into transaction locking. So this prevents you, it's you can see on the screen here, transaction locking prevents you from making any changes that affect accounting prior to a specified date. You cannot add, modify, or delete transactions before this date. So just have to set this. Let's say it's the end of the year, end of your financial year, and you don't want anyone uh, within Zoho Books. Zoho Books is multi-user, which we'll cover shortly. So you don't want any other users in your organization with access to Zoho Books to make any changes to the existing transactions. So in those situations, you, the admin, can come here. You can enable transaction locking and set the date, and nobody else can come and make any more changes. So you can do that as well. With that, finally we go into reporting, which is one of the most powerful features in Books. So we have about 50 plus and, powerful reports that's available. You can scroll down and see that here. Your profit and loss, your cash flow, your sales and receivable breakdown. Let's quickly go to your balance sheet. You can see all the important information here. You can always customize this and specify uh, the specific date for which you want this report. You can do that. If you want to email this report to your inbox at a particular point, you can do that quite easily here. Or if you want to print it out or export it in this specified formats, you can do that easily. So the reports feature is very versatile. Whatever you want to do with it, in whichever format you want this data out there for you, you can access it in that way. uh, I'll take you to the tax returns report here. So at the time of filing VAT returns, this is something that would come in really crucial for you. So So when I say Soho Books is VAT compliant, I really mean that we have covered you from a VAT perspective throughout. Whatever documents that you create is VAT compliant as specified by the tax authorities. Not just that, at the time of filing VAT returns, you don't have to break a sweat at all. Whatever returns data or reports has to be filed, the software generates it automatically for you. As you can see here, you can see the breakdown. This was specified by the tax authority in Saudi Arabia as to how it should be when you file your VAT returns, and Soho Books has followed that meticulously and provided the exact VAT return format. And yeah, here you can see the generate VAT return option, which you can use at the time of filing your first VAT return, which will be coming soon. With that, I'll take you back to the dashboard section again. We have, in the last 20 minutes, we have ran through all the important features or the modules here that's available on the left within Zoho Books. I'll I'll take you to the documents feature in Zoho Books next. So the documents feature is a cool new add-on feature that you have. If you choose for this add-on, what you get is dedicated mail address to which you can send your additional documents and any other data or documents that you have. Or if you want to upload those files, if you want to just click a picture and upload it directly to your Zoho Books documents hub, you can do that as well quite easily here at the click of a button. So after you upload or receive them in email, you can easily associate a particular bill with a particular transaction that you've already created in Zoho Books. So, what it does is reduces data entry on your part or your accountant's part, and you can focus on growing your business grow bigger, while we care of we take care of all the back end data entry work for you. With that, I'll go into the settings section again. Like I mentioned earlier, Soho Books is multi-user accounting software. For now, you can see this is the admin. This is just my account. If I want to invite other users in my organization to have access to this particular software, I can do that by inviting my users. All I need is their email address and name, and I can send out invitations. Here you can see the defined roles that are there by default. That's the admin who has unrestricted access, and the other roles. Other than this, if I want to create a new role, I can always do that here and set the particular access that I need for this particular role. Preferences, coming here, you can basically control every type of document or transaction that you create, or whatever shows up in whatever sales or purchases document. Here you can see for yourself. Timesheet projects. If you want to create a custom field within time for project, I can do that here. Just like I mentioned earlier that it is multi-user, so Books is multi-currencies as well. Because we are using the Saudi Arabian edition, the base currency is set as Saudi Riyal. Mm, if I'm doing cross-border transactions, if I create an invoice in a different currency, the foreign exchange is automatically fetched. Uh, but if I don't want that, if I want to disable it and set a value myself, I can do that by coming here. Tax is something that we've already seen. Reporting tax, if I want to associate a bunch of transactions based on the particular location, let's say I want to classify my transactions based on the ones happening in Abu Dhabi separately, Dubai separately, and then Sharjah. I can do that by using something called reporting tags. So this is a tag that I've already created called location. So whenever I create uh, an invoice, I can associate this particular tag and tell the system if I should associate with which particular location. I can do that easily. Then we have something called templates for all the type of documents that we create. Let's go to the invoice template. That's the standard Arabic template that's there by default. Here you can see you can basically play around with all the different features. You can see the organization logo or the name color, the font size, whatever that's there. It's up to you. So you can choose to customize it the way you want to reflect the brand that you're trying to convey to your customers. You have a lot of emails that you'll be sending out along the course of using Sobooks. So all the different types of email templates that you have and the way you want it to edit, you can easily do that here by coming to email templates. If you want to send out reminders to your customers about a pending payment, you can do that easily. Automation is a slightly advanced feature in Sobooks. You can create custom functions for a particular task in Sobooks, or set a webhook to um, initiate a particular instance or another task. For the purpose of this webinar, which is a general purpose overview demo, I'm not going to go deeply into them. If you would like more information, you can always reach out to us, and we'll have a product expert reach out to you personally and explain this. We have a host of integrations with our other Zoho products that's being displayed here, as well as the third-party apps. Um, Otherwise, here you can see the bunch of online payment gateways that's available, and with specifically with regards to Middle East, we are in the process of integrating with other payment gateway options, specifically for the Middle East market. So watch out the space for more data, for more information soon. So this is one question that we get pretty often. What about all the data? You guys say that you're on the cloud, and how how am I assured that all my data is safe or it's out there? We I'm here to tell you that we have you completely covered. Whatever transactions or information that you create is completely safe, and if you feel that you would like to back up your data on a regular basis, you can always come here into settings. It's like right there. It's not complicated at all. Just have to click here to back up your data, and it will be sent to the specific uh, email address that you've already set up in the beginning. So it's as simple as that. So with that, I've given a brief run through of all the basic features within Zoho Books for Saudi Arabian edition, which is VAT compliant. I would like to add. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. You can see this question icon here. We have our product experts available on chat as well as call or mail here, depending upon how you prefer. So please reach out to us if you have any questions. Thank you for tuning in.